Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. Thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being on the live. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Appreciate y'all for being on the live. Much love to the fam. Much love to the fam. Do me a service, please. Feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We up in this thing. So appreciate y'all for joining us in the live edition. Monday night going down. Big ups to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Please do me a service. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share the show. Share it in Saints groups, X, Facebook, doesn't matter. Wherever you at, it helps the platform. So big ups to you, fam. Appreciate y'all. Much love for being in the stream. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show. All right, so anyway, let's get right into it, man. Let's drop and get right into it, man. This one here, Saints buy the post-buy reset. Midseason awards, NFC South Outlook, and finishing strong. That's the thing we have to remember to do going forward. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? This is an article right here from Saints Wire. Big ups to them. As we get going in the broadcast, Saints midseason awards team MVP breakout of the year so far. And this is an interesting article because basically what it does do, it does touch on a few items, of this past week. We kind of section it up, break down and break apart the season, and kind of look at who's really stepping it up as we get ready to hit this streak of games here. And we got 6 games are remaining that's left, but it's a lot of good stuff that's got to pop for the Saints. 2-game winning streak, going into the bye, getting reset, maybe getting a few players back, getting down the line. Rams lost this past weekend. They're going to be looking to kind of ramp up, get busy. They come down here to black and gold. Saints got this home matchup. It'll be pretty good if the Saints can beat the Rams and then go into New York against the Giants, who are kind of struggling right now, with their quarterback situation. Saints could unmask a 4-game winning streak to kind of get back. We got to get back to 500. That's the first thing. Before we even talk about any playoffs, you have to get to 500. And right now the Saints are 4-7. So they're going to have to go on the winning streak. There's not too much error left because they done lost all of the error they can have. So anyway, let's jump right into this article right here. Saints Midseason Awards by John Sigler. Shout out to him. Bye week is great and opportunity to take stock of some of the Saints season so far. We had an opportunity to watch a couple of times. Every play from 11 games is also good to shine a spotlight on some deserving players who stood out for the team this season. Here's what he and his staff had to come up to say about the most valuable player, the breakout player of the year, most improved player, and comeback player of the year, rookie of the year. Now, this up to this point, of course, right? Some of the choices were unanimous. Others led to interesting discussion. Let's get into it. And as we go through this article, you guys feel free to comment in the section and tell me who you think your midseason MVP is, the breakout player of the year, most improved player, comeback player of the year, and the rookie of the year thus far based on what you've seen up to this point, right? So what they got is the most valuable player currently constructed here. And hold on just a second, fam. Make sure everything all right. All right. Yes. All right. We're good. So the interesting thing is what they said about the most valuable player up to this point. AK-41, Kamara continued to be the heartbeat of the team offensively while closing on his best season since 2020. He's currently third in the NFL in yards from scrimmage and likely will reach his first 1,000-yard rushing season of his career. Also being awarded a captain of the Saints team release recently only adds on to all his accomplished season. Also, another reporter or beat writer says Alvin Kamara. And then one of the people said Darren Rizzi. Sure, he's not a player, but he's very much a big part of the Saints getting back on track. The thought is it's pure coincidence that Saints have won both games since that is pure coincidence. Now, I don't think it's pure coincidence, but I get what he's saying. The culture and energy shift he's brought seem to have made all the difference in the world. And then if Taysom have to give this one to Taysom, the Swiss Army knife does whatever the team asks him to do. The offense moves at a much better rate than number 7 is on the field. Definitely Alvin Kamara. In my opinion, my most valuable player of the year up to this point is Alvin Kamara. Ain't no doubt about it. Alvin Kamara has been there. He's been available when Taysom is not there. Alvin Kamara is there. So if I had to weigh between the two, to me, up to this point, AK-41 in the blowout, in a runaway with the race. And then, of course, co-MVP, that's a whole nother discussion that you can have. Who would be the co-MVP up to this point? But in terms of my MVP, it goes to AK-41. The guy's been there. He's having a phenomenal year. There's no need for us, there's ain't much to talk about right there, to be honest with you, fam. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking about moving forward, man. It's like that's my look in terms of the team and how it goes and when it goes and all this kind of stuff. That's what I'm looking at. But anyway, pardon me, fam. I'm just kind of paying attention to the Pelicans as I'm recording this. All right, but anyway, listen. Alfred Payton started next to CJ McCollum. He came back. All right, so anyway, good to see CJ back. That's been a while, so we get some of our guys back. But anyway, my MVP is AK-41. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. That is. Y'all put in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think as well. All right, breakout player of the year. Who's the breakout player of the year? Let's see what they say. Alontae Taylor, Rashid Shaheed, Brian Bresee, Rashid Shaheed, Blake Grupe. This is some what the writer said. Jeremy Trotter says Alontae, the cornerback room for the Saints has a lot of shuffling from Marshawn being traded, Paulson and Debo being out for the rest of the season. However, opportunity came from that for Alontae Taylor. He has made most of this playing on the outside, making an exceptional number of high-level plays while not perfect, and has been outstanding given the task he has. A good building block for the Saints to work with from the future. So another writer says the same thing. Rashid Shaheed says Darian Gray. Unfortunately, Shaheed's breakout year was cut short. He's been explosive as a receiver, but this year saw him blossom into one of the most prolific and consistent deep threats in the league. His connection with Derek Carr grew, and Shaheed was averaging more yards per catch and yards per game. He was definitely on pace to have a breakout year. Unfortunately, he went down with the injury. Brian Bresee has already surpassed his rookie sack total, 4.5 in 17 games with 5.5 sacks through 11. He's not making as great of an impact in run defense, but the Saints expected that when they drafted him. He's making plays when they matter and most in getting to the quarterback when we need to see more of it down the stretch. That's what John says. And listen, I got to agree here. This is a really good one right here. Breakout player of the year. Alontae, they make a strong case for Alontae Taylor. Can't say Rashid Shaheed because he couldn't complete the year. Brian Bresee is really stepping up. So, and then of course they make Blake Grupe. The award goes to Blake. Special teams matter. Notre Dame product has quietly been one of the league's best kickers. He's 18 of 19 with 350-yard kicks. Interesting. But, you know, the breakout player of the year would come down. I think it'll be between Alontae Taylor. I think those are good comments. Alontae Taylor and Brian Bresee. Tough to say. I'm going to have to give mine to Brian Bresee. I have to give it, no disrespect to Alontae Taylor. I just need to see more. Alontae Taylor just stepped into that role quite recently of being the CB1, and he's been a bit grabby. You know, he was solid in the nickel, and when he became CB1, he adjusted for it. He a little bit more grabby than I would like to see from him. But he's been sturdy. You know, I've given him in terms of him being there since he stepped into the lineup as CB1, I give him a grade of like a B-, a C+, somewhere along in there. But he's performing, and that's an adjustment. He's going to get better, right? The interceptions are not there. If I probably would have gave him that if I've seen more interceptions from that CB1 position or from that period. But him stepping forward, because it's very big. Marshawn has been traded. Paulson Adebo got hurt for the year. He's on a contract that'll be over with at the end of the season. We don't know what the Saints going to do with that. The Saints could very well let Paulson Adebo go, focus on keeping Alontae and Kool-Aid McKinstry there and bringing in another cornerback via draft or bringing one in through free agency. You never know. You know, but looking at all the draft picks, they probably would be a cornerback, another drafted cornerback, or perhaps a guy that an undrafted guy that's trying to make a move like a Rico Payton or Hugo Amadi at the nickel position is trying to prove himself right now. So I'm not going to go with them on Alontae Taylor. I'm going to go with them. I'm going to say my breakout player is Brian Bresee. I like what Brian Bresee is doing in the interior defensive line. I do realize at some point that he's going to have to start. And I've said this before about Brian Bresee, 5.5 sacks right now. Run support is an issue, but you have pass rusher coach who's not a pass rusher coach anyway. He's not a defensive line coach, working with those guys and getting better there. And I think to a degree, Grantham was kind of stalling out the development, but Brian Bresee's strong. He's big, he's aggressive, and he's disruptive there. And I think that's the one element of his game from a defensive standpoint, the run stuff and support that will come. And that will be there. So I think as the reps continue to grow, he'll grow much like we see Tali Fuaga, Trevor Penning, and those guys growing. He will continue to grow, but he's available. He's mean. He's big. He's a disruptive. He's a force there. So we just have to pay attention to that. All right, let's keep it moving, man. The most improved player. Wow. Okay. Look what they got there on the board there. Most improved player. You know, breakout player. Yeah. But, you know, could we look at Brian Bresee, but could there be a case, not kind of backtrack right quick as I get ready to move on, but a breakout player of the year? I guess I can save this one here, but can I say Tali Fuaga? Not quite yet, right? We got to wait another year. Tali Fuaga is awesome. All right, most improved player. Let's talk about it here. Trevor Penning, as according to Luke Lafredo, says this is one easy one for me. It's Trevor Penning. Penning went from being benched at the start of the season to having weeks where he's the highest graded player at his position, something that was completely unheard of at the start of the year. That's absolutely more room for growth. But Penning has shown he can be a capable starting tackle in the league. And remember, a lot of criticism was given to Trevor Penning. I came to his defense rather, right? Because he don't need no protection. But I came to his defense rather to explain to the Who Dat Nation that the Saints was not setting Penning up for success when they put him in there as a starter. They threw him at the left tackle position. I railed against that when they thought about doing it. They kept talking about, it's interchangeable. The guy could play it, and he failed. You know, they didn't play him but one game in his rookie year. They threw him in there to left tackle the second year. He crashed and burned. They didn't bring him back to do nothing. You know, he had spot duty here or there and played, I think it was 5 games or so, whatever it was in the second season. His confidence was way down. And while he was doing that was trying to protect the right tackle at the time was with Ryan Ramczyk, who was dealing with severe knee issue. And instead of moving Ramczyk to the left tackle and let Penning develop at the right tackle where he belonged, they left him there and he crashed and burned. But good thing is that the offensive lineman coach, John Benton came in there And Benton was able to take a Penning as a bit of a reclamation project, put him at the right tackle position, which is a position that is less eye-catching, rather, and left the left tackle position to Mr. Tali Fuaga. And these guys are growing together. And Penning is a 3-year veteran who's now officially getting the reps that he deserved. And all he needed was an opportunity to get in there, make mistakes. He's made a ton of mistakes, but he showed that he can play this game. And we knew he could play this game. We knew he was a run stuffing guy because he's athletic and he's mean, but his pass stuff needed. But he has the athleticism and he is learning on the job, and you can see the results. So I can give him credit for that. The rest of the guys says Penning. Jerry Trias says Penning. Mr. Gray says Brian Brissy. He talks about Brian Brissy's 5.5 sacks. Trevor Penning and Trevor Penning and Trevor Penning. So, my call is most improved player. It's hard to not put Trevor Penning in the badge, especially how far he came from. And he was damn near like in that preseason game, the Saints would have put him in the street. But it's good to see that they didn't. They kept with the guy, and then ultimately you see it got turned around. And I'm very happy for that. So we'll see. We have 2 bookend tackles for the future. We just need to strengthen our interior aspect. We need a left guard. And ultimately, we need some better backups, and that's what I see, better backups and a more proven veteran center, just in case McCoy has a step back or 2. All right, anyway, let's keep it moving. Comeback player of the year. Who's your comeback player of the year? Will Harris. Often gave accolades in the last broadcast about Will Harris and how this is the best free agent under the wire or not under the ground or less known that you can think about. I mean, this was absolutely an awesome signing to get him, to get Will Harris here when they signed him, because they anticipated they liked his versatility. He could play safety and corner. It was a very cheap move in terms of price, and they brought this man here, and all he did was make some moves here for the Saints secondary. Anytime he was in there, he was able to make things happen. And I just give him all the world of credit. Now, he did miss some games to injuries, but when he's in there, the Saints, they thrive. And so this is what they say. Will Harris got to go. Will Harris from just a year ago, going from a reserve player off the bench in Detroit to become an impact player on the Saints defense, and a huge accomplishment for a player. Many of us thought the battle at safety position opposite of Tyron would be between second-year player Jordan Howden and veteran Jonathan Abram, who they put in the street for him. Jordan Howden and veteran Abram to start. Funny enough, it ended up being Harris, who was the one to lock up the spot. Harris has been one of the tone setters on the defensive side, making receivers and ball carriers very weary of him coming. Harris should be the player that the team should bring back. And I've mentioned 3 players, and I'll do a separate broadcast on this at point, probably sometimes this week, probably on the Wednesday stream, of 3 players the Saints should come back or should sign. And it should be a little bit more than that, but at least 3 players that I want to name, and then we'll cover that in the Wednesday stream. Peyton Turner, coming back player, is a tough spot to really gauge, as not missing. Saints missed a large portion of the year. Those who did not come back have not performed at a high level. One who has done well to work back, however, is Peyton Turner, who missed all but 2 games last season. He has played in 10 for 2024, 2 sacks. He had 3 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 forced fumbles, 3 pass defenses, 14 tackles, and only 30% of defensive snap. This improvement is good to see, and hopefully something to build off for 2025. Won't happen here unless they get Peyton Turner back on a cheap deal, because the Saints, he's on the final year of his agreement. Ultimately, what's ended up happening is the Saints turned down his 5th-year option because it would have been way through the roof, and he's basically a free agent after this year. Now, if they want Peyton Turner back, he'll probably come back. You might get him at a cheaper rate to come back here, which I doubt will happen, but it's all based on him. If he wants to stay here and be a part of the Saints' future, that could be something that they look at. But me personally, I think the Saints will go at another defensive end that's currently on the team, more so than a Peyton Turner, because even though he's having this kind of stuff in the final year of his deal, it's still not enough to turn heads to the point where, hey, man, we got to bring him back. They're cash strapped. And if they do decide to bring back a handful of players for the upcoming season, these guys have to be economically sound. You might have 1 or 2 guys who might have to cost you. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it. And Peyton Turner, even though I like him, I don't think he's done enough to warrant a deal coming back, but the what they call it, a comeback player of the year, I would definitely say not. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been written off by many after being released by the Bills, landed in New Orleans so that he could still add an explosive element to an offense. His contribution is mutually beneficial. I don't see Scantling, not enough time with the Saints, even though I like what he's done since he's been here, but not enough time. Then they mentioned Peyton Turner, Scantling, and Jordan Howden. This one might surprise, but I'm going to go with Jordan Howden. After a rookie season, the Minnesota product has bounced back nicely. Has been a big piece to the Saints defense. And I remember this is comeback player of the year. This is a tough one here because I don't. It's to me, it's not Peyton Turner, it's not Scantling, and it's not Jordan Howden. If any of these guys make sense, I would agree. It probably would be Will Harris because Will Harris to me makes a lot of sense, even though he missed some games. When Will Harris is there, he plays, and not only that, Will Harris could cover. But what I like about Will Harris is that he hits. He'll lay some pain on you. And that was something that we know Will Harris, that a lot of people didn't realize Will Harris was good at doing. You know, he would cover and he'll make tackles, but he'll lay some pain too. So it was good seeing that. So I'm gonna have to give my comeback player of the year to Will Harris. I like what he's done in the secondary with the Saints. And like I said, they paid next to nothing to get him here, and they've been getting a great return on that. So Will Harris is my vote there. And of course, the rookie of the year, who else could it be? In a runaway, it's obviously clear who the rookie of the year is. It's Tali Fuaga. He's been special. His performance against Myles Garrett, even though Myles Garrett had a foot ailment, Myles Garrett was still out there playing. And even though Myles Garrett have a bad, a foot issue, Myles Garrett still has 7 sacks on the year. That's still Myles Garrett. Is still very good. Saints Tali did a wonderful job in stopping him. So, I mean, my rookie, that's a hands runaway favorite, Tali Fuaga, no doubt about it. No brainer. Fuaga has been exactly what the team expected him to be, quite honestly, especially what they need him to be. Fuaga has looked athletic, powerful, has been a people mover. There's no need for some improvement when it comes to pass protection, but there's plenty of time for development down the line with so much uncertainty at the offensive tackle position at the start of the season. We can finally say team has found a long-term solution at that spot. Tali Fuaga, and somebody said Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think some of the staff is going to go with Tali, but I'm going to go in another direction. I love what I've seen from Kool-Aid. He's been fast, physical. When he gets snaps, I especially like what I've seen from him in the run game. This Kramer guy, Johnny Kramer, is a Johnny come lately to this argument because obviously he's just trying to be a contrarian, but it's obviously Tali Fuaga, no doubt about it. Kool-Aid McKinstry got hurt in games, and Tali Fuaga has just been rolling along. Now, he did have missed a couple of reps or something like that. He missed a little time, but not much. But he's been special at the left tackle position. Just remember what you were seeing a year ago, and after that, the struggles that you would see. This guy penciled in at the left tackle position, very tough-minded individual. Him and Penning. So you have rookie of the year, and Tali Fuaga, and most improved player of the year in Trevor Penning. So the future is bright in terms of the Saints bookend tackles. Like I said, they need to find a left guard, and they need to get some depth at the backup offensive line position, especially a veteran center that can do about what McCoy could do. So we can never have this ugly situation where if McCoy goes down, we all suffer because nobody else can do what he does. That is just totally stupid. Anyway, shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all on this one, man. Y'all check it out and put in the chat, man. Who do you guys think is your rookie of the year? Put it in the chat. Let me know. Rookie of the year, comeback player of the year, most improved player of the year, breakout player of the year, and the most valuable player of the year up to this point. It's midseason awards, right? All right, let's kind of jump and move forward, man. We'll go to the next plate here, and this is the next one here. Is the Saints Cam Jordan breaks down and did his thing. He won on the NFL Network. And Cam just come alive. He started talking a lot and everything when he gets out there. And I think that's definitely going to be something that Cam Jordan does moving forward as a broadcaster, man. Let's see what he had to say because hold on, let me make sure I got it right. Yes. All right, yeah, but Cam Jordan, man, it'll be interesting to see. So let's see what Cam got going on, y'all. Let's listen to what Cam had to say during the Fox show.
I know what doesn't feel good. Okay, we have to address it.
No, I said it feels good being here.
Okay.
Don't do this about the season.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. A little bit of a roller coaster season for you. Give us a state of the union on your Saints right
A
now.
little bit. Look, we came out hot. 2 games straight. Beat the brakes off the Cowboys.
We had y'all in the Super Bowl.
Panthers.
We know you came out.
The world was like, it's the Saints. And then we had some injuries. Derek Carr gets injured. Eric McCoy gets injured, who's our center for our offensive line. Cesar Ruiz, Taysom Hill,
Everybody.
Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. Yeah, pretty much like 7 or 8 of our starting offense was down.
Out.
Tough.
Yeah,
So,
that's hard.
now you're just swinging. You're swinging. And we end up in a precarious situation I've never been in, sitting at 2-7. I've never lost 7 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's tough to do.
Different dynamic.
I don't think it's been done for the Saints since there was some wild stat like 1980s if we had lost 8 straight. We didn't lose 8 straight.
99.
We won this back too. We beat the brakes off the Falcons.
Actually, you didn't beat the brakes off the Falcons. Actually, you won very close in the Falcons game. But we had an opportunity to blow the game open. But we didn't beat the brakes off the Falcons. That's not exactly accurate. Even though I would love to, but that's just not what happened.
And then we ended up winning last week against the Browns. Jameis Winston and how he's inspired his team around them. But we beat them, and then we go into the bye. So hopeful at the end. You go win 2, lose him. Win 2.
You're an eternal optimist. You will always find a
absolutely.
positive.
And we feel strong. Like this
Season for you. Give us a state of the union on your Saints right
a
now.
little bit. Look, we came out hot. 2 games straight. Beat the brakes off the Cowboys.
We had y'all in the Super Bowl.
Panthers.
We know you came out.
The world was like, it's the Saints. And then we had some injuries. Derek Carr gets injured. Eric McCoy gets injured, who's our center for our offensive line. Cesar Ruiz, Taysom Hill,
Everybody.
Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. Yeah, pretty much like 7 or 8 of our starting offense was down.
Out.
Tough.
Yeah,
So,
that's hard.
now you're just swinging. You're swinging.
And this is the thing. And somewhere along in there, of course, Cam's a gentleman. He's not going to say anything about Dennis Allen not knowing what he's doing. And that means not knowing what he's doing in terms of with the lineup and everything. The Saints injury was a portion of it, but that's why you have depth charts. That's why guys like Michael Vick, if you look at their facial expression, they got to turn it away because they understand ain't no excuses in this shit, man. You get paid millions of dollars. The teams is worth multiple billions of dollars. That's why you have depth charts. That's why there's practice squads to pull from. And it's each team's job to stack their teams appropriately. And all season long, we were saying how incredibly weak the Saints' backup offensive linemen were. And they got exposed when these injuries started to hit. They got exposed badly. That was decision-making by the head coach. That's why they had the weak injuries. Now, you can't replace a McCoy, but you can have a solid backup that can come in that knows or have an idea what he's doing. The Saints didn't even have that. They had to shift the guy from guard to center. They didn't have a plan at the center position, which was totally stupid. Nobody knew how to do what Eric McCoy did. And that's why a large portion why the Saints suffered so much when McCoy left out of there was totally stupid and reckless. You can't have one person on that team that if something happened to him, they can't have another guy that can at least try to do half of what he does. And the Saints didn't even have a veteran backup center. They had to pull the right guard, left guard, to be the center. Didn't make any sense at all, but that was a part of the game. Yeah, you have injuries. Yeah, you lost Derek Carr. You still had Elvin Kamara. You still have Chris Olave. You still, up to a point, had Rashid Shaheed. You still had people. They didn't all go at the same time. And there were games where the Saints were in these games and didn't close these games. And that's the point. You still have to win when you don't have your guys in there. That's why you have a depth chart. That is the purpose of playing as a team. Because I'm still supposed to run my system. And I'm the head offensive coordinator. I'm still supposed to run my system, whether that guy's in there or not. My idea is like, if Elvin goes down, let me see if I can get a guy or 2 guys that I can cycle between that can do his job or something like that. Or maybe let me make life easy for Elvin and Taysom by decoying them guys and giving these other guys who people don't know about opportunities to shine. That kind of stuff. That's what good coaches do. Injuries only impact that team if you let them. That's the truth out, because that's what depth charts are for. These guys supposed to be practicing, and you still have to run the ball. You still have to play defense. You still have to catch passes. You still have to throw the ball. All this is a part of football. That's why not just the starters practice, but everybody practice. Everybody, first team, second team, third team, everybody practices just in case of that situation. And sometimes it happens.
And we end up in a precarious situation I've never been in, sitting at 2-7. I've never lost 7 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's tough to do. I don't think it's been done for the Saints since there's some wild stat like 1980s if we had lost 8 straight. We didn't lose 8 straight.
You didn't lose 8 straight.
We won this back too. We beat the brakes off the Falcons.
A little shot.
And then we ended up winning last week against
Michael Vick ain't like that shit.
The Browns. Jameis Winston and
look how Michael Vick stand up there looking at him. Michael Vick ain't like that shit.
He's inspired his team around him, but we beat them. And then
he said, yeah. look at Michael Vick.
And then we ended up winning last week against the Browns. Jameis Winston and how he's beat the brakes off the Falcons.
Cam Messi, you see how he looked? He looked at Michael Vick.
We beat the brakes off the Falcons.
Look at him looking at Michael Vick. Cam Messi. Look at he looking at Michael Vick with this shit. I wish they had panned out then after that.
And then
Michael Vick ain't like that shit.
We ended up winning last week against the Browns. Jameis Winston and how he's inspired his team around him, but we beat them.
He said, "Yeah." Michael Vick ain't like that shit.
And then we go into the bye, so hopeful at the end. You go win 2, lose him, win 2.
You're an eternal optimist. You will always find a
absolutely.
positive.
And we feel strong. Almost didn't want the bye week. No, let's keep rolling.
Keep it going.
Nah, you better go ahead into the bye week and take it. Saints take the bye week, go back and get strong. And man, the interesting part is that's Cam's breakdown on the season to this point. And 7 wins, 7 losses is hard to come by, and it's not supposed to happen. But it'll happen when you got a VP at the switch, a fake ass general manager, which is masquerading as a GM, a president of football operations who don't know what the hell he doing because he ain't overseeing anything. Only thing he doing is looking at the goddamn numbers. And that's how you lose 7 games in a row. We were there watching the funk and the stank, trying to stop it from happening, yelling and stop supporting the team so that they fired the guy that was responsible for it. That's what we were doing. And they had some of the players there that wasn't kissing his ass, like Matthew and Demario and the rest of them. But there were players there that's like, man, this has got to change. I know Bink Saunders was one of the dudes on social media. He was upset. And there were quite a few others that Gail went and talked to. Then she heard the complaints from the support base, and then she put the guy on the street. Despite the chagrin of the dumb GM masquerader who was trying to keep him. So at the end of the day, that's Cam's breakdown on what happened. And, it's very interesting, man, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, man, it's just a situation where 2 games that you win 2 in the start of the season, you're on a 2-game winning streak. And really the Saints this will be a tough matchup with them going against the Rams. It's an afternoon game, so it'll be Sunday afternoon. And they have an opportunity to get 4 straight wins. I don't want to jump too ahead of myself, but if they can beat the Rams, who coming off a loss, the Giants are reeling. You'll have the Commanders, rather, the Packers, and the Raiders, this kind of stuff. So anyway, the Saints they need to focus on 1 game at a time, and that's what it comes down to. 1 game at a time approach. I'm not talking about no playoffs until they get the main thing for the Saints is winning 1 game at a time until they get back to 500. If they can get back to 500, then we can start having the dialogue of potentiality, playoff potentiality. They're still very much in the hole at 4-7, and they got a lot of climbing to do. So they have to, like I told you, when we were losing the games, you go on a 7-game losing streak, you have to go on a 7-game winning streak to get up out of the hole. You got to get up out of the hole. So they have to finish strong. That's the name of the broadcast. The Saints have to finish strong. All right, and let's flash this one, fam, and kind of go over here to this one right here. And this is Big James Hurst. Let's hear what his analysis on the season. Here we go.
Deep dive on the Saints. Joining us from ESPN, our good friend Catherine Terrell, and our WDSU Saints analyst, a guy who was playing O-line on this team 1 year ago, James Hurst. This is going to be a roundtable, so anybody jump in when they want, because Sharif and I have hot takes galore for both of you all.
Y'all?
No surprise. James, let's start with you. What does Darren Rizzi have to do to keep this job long-term? Is it just win games?
I think it's win games, and I think what he does so well is he brings energy to the sideline, to the players, and that's very natural for him. However, the reality is it's a results-driven league, so he's going to have to win all, if not maybe one loss, maybe 2 losses down the stretch in order to even be considered. But truthfully, it's an uphill battle being the interim coach. A lot of it plays into, is the team ready for a rebuild? Is it time to empty the locker room and start fresh, if you will? So there's a lot of questions that will be answered as this season ends, but more importantly, early into the offseason.
Yeah.
All right, let me reply to that. Shout out to James Hurst and Cat Terrell. The 2 really solid people on Saint commentary. The thing about the Rizzi, because I've been asked this, I don't know how many times people DM me, and I've been getting this question on the broadcast about Rizzi, saying, Q, should Rizzi be the man? Should he stay? Should he be the guy to kind of lead the Saints ahead? And the thing is, in order for Rizzi to really be the coach, he would have to basically do, I ain't gonna say the impossible, but do basically the most difficult thing, which is take the team to the playoffs. Now, I know that's a tall order, because the former coach Possum could not do that in 3 tries. 2.5 tries, rather. He could not do it. He couldn't do it. He funked it up, gummed it up. Now, Coach Rizzi is more intelligent than he is, and he's more of a passionate guy, and that helps to have a guy with that much energy. And you can see he loves the game. And he's a good football coach, and everybody like Coach Rizzi. I like him a lot too. Always like Coach Rizzi. Thing is, James Hurst is right. It is an uphill battle. He would basically have to get the team to the playoffs for him to be a lock for the job. But if the team doesn't get to the playoffs, you can interview Coach Rizzi, but he'll be in a long list of other guys that should be interviewed for the Saints job. And then Coach, of course, James Hurst mentioned, should they rebuild such and such? No, they're not going to do that, because Mickey Loomis will prevent a rebuild. He will prevent the rebuild because he's held to what he's done. It's like, well, Q, why is he fighting so hard? Shout out to y'all. See y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for being here. Why is he fighting so goddamn hard, Q, to keep this team where, just that stuff? Because he has messed up the money, the cap situation for the Saints for all these years. And he understands for the Saints to have some type of cap relief that they cannot disturb what he's done up to this point. He understands within 2 and 3 years, the Saints will have all kind of money, because the DeMario Davises, the Taysom Hills, and the Ryan Ramchicks, the Derek Carrs, and all these other contracts will be largely gone off the Saints book. And the Saints will see an unprecedented amount of money. They will see about $200+ million in the 3rd year. So he will definitely kick against and rail against any type of situation that has something to do with rebuilding the team. Let's just, in terms of the contracts, he's not going to do that. So whoever takes the team, whether it's Rizzi or not, and is a good chance, he got as good chance as anybody, because he's a guy that would agree not to disrupt that. Whoever the Saints' next coaches has to be largely in agreement to what Mickey Loomis has done, because whoever the coach is going to be, they're not going to have a lot of stuff to work with. And whatever the new coach is going to be, the majority of it's going to be philosophy and taking what the former guy did and see if he can make work with it, which a good coach can take what this other guy left and turn it into something winning, because he has the good talent. You just need the philosophy to get that done. So Rizzy has a good chance of anything, but even if he doesn't get the team to the playoffs, you interview everybody. You interview everybody. You have a real interview process in which you talk to people and you find out. And then another question is, who's making the decisions? This is another portion that people talk about. AQ, what we're going to do with the head coach. It depends on what you're going to do with the general manager. And I ain't talking about firing him, because they're not going to fire him, but there needs to be a shakeup at the top of the Saints organization. And that's some of the stuff on the street is saying there's supposed to be a shakeup. And that's what the hell I'm looking for, a shakeup, because who will be making these decisions? Who's going to be making the calls for all this stuff that we're talking about? If it's Mickey Loomis, then I don't have any faith in that, because this dude is a moron. He's blind. So anyway, let's finish up. Here we go.
I think I agree with James. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough if they can get into the playoffs, and maybe it's Darren Rizzi. He's injected some life. The team respects him. They always talk about unity, accountability. He's been fun to cover for TV people, and I'm sure for print and anybody who covers a head coach who could talk a lot and give a lot of good answers. James was right. He has a lot of humor. Whenever we talked in Kansas City, if they got rid of Dennis Allen, who would it be? Darren Rizzi. And I said, is he funny? Is he like tough guy? He goes, nah, man, he's kind of funny. You heard it with the clogging the toilet thing, which was pretty funny. Then the construction worker outfit that he showed up in. But I think like the accountability is there. He's injected that much needed life and energy into this franchise that it's been needed since Sean Payton's left. And it's been fun football. But is that good enough and sustainable in a 17-game season? And that's what worries me if Darren Rizzi is the head coach. But maybe, who knows?
Yeah. Quickly, Kat, do you think, what does he have to do besides go? I mean, he goes 7-1 in 8 games. He's getting the job. Let's just say he goes 4-4. Is that enough to push him over the finish line with the way the players seem to respond to him and his energy?
No.
Well, I don't think there's a magic number. I think a lot of things are going to be a factor. First of all, how are the fans handling it? You know, I honestly think part of the reason Dennis Allen got fired a week ago was because they were about to go into a 3-game home stretch with an empty stadium. I truly think that had to factor in. So if the fans are into it, if the stadium's filling up again, I think that's part of it. I mean, you have to sell hope, right? You have to sell optimism. Can Darren Rizzi sell optimism going into the next season? So, of course, if he goes 6-2, you have to consider him. But I don't think it necessarily has to be that. But also, the other part of it is, can you sell promoting a coach on the staff 2 times in a row?
Yeah,
so
no, you're right, because obviously.
Say, Cat, shout out to Cat Terrell, man, keeping it real and giving us.
He ain't lying.
That's giving the family members, the supporters, the credit they deserve for those who didn't show up in that building, for those who are making those phone calls and those emails, like myself and you guys out there was responsible for this. We covered this. We had that guy fired. And they're going to move around the big stinking pustule in the room, which is Mickey Loomis. It's not about selling Rizzi, because people already like Rizzi. You don't have to sell Rizzi. It's not Rizzi. It's Mickey Loomis. It's Dennis Lauscher. That's the problem. You're not going to get people that are smart Saint people to give their hard-earned goddamn money to the New Orleans Saints team. And it ain't about selling hope. If you're winning, you don't have to sell no damn hope. You don't have to sell shit if you are a competent winning organization.
Talk, boy!
You don't have to sell no damn hopium. Selling hope. Well, just win, goddammit. Like L. Davis said back in the day, just win. You just win and it sells itself. You got to do all these magic tricks because you ain't shit. And you tricking and lying and doing all this side shit. People are not a majority, the vast majority of people, and I talk to Saints people all the time. A lot of people don't believe in Mickey Loomis. And as long as you're talking about building or fixing on this team and Mickey Loomis is the main one doing it, these people are going to have doubts and they're not going to support the team fully until Mickey Loomis's role is reduced. He's removed from the general manager and the shakeup in the Saints organization happened. Because the moves that made the Saints what they are right now is a direct result of Mickey Loomis and Dennis Lauscher. So you ain't selling me no hopium. This ain't for Cat because I love Cat, but this ain't about this hopium thing. This is about doing it right. And the problem is, it's Mickey Loomis. He's the big elephant in the room, and the other stinking ass shitty elephant is Dennis Lauscher. Let's go.
I think that is a great point. They had the carryover because they said they wanted the continuity from Sean to Dennis because they felt like what they had created just needed carryover. Can you do that again? That's a great point. I'm going to start this one. If it's not Darren Rizzi, and we're just going to throw out some hypotheticals, a lot of football left, I feel like Mike Vrabel should be the guy. And I understand he's going to be in demand. Maybe he gets a job in Vegas if they make a change. Maybe he goes back to the NFC East where he played and takes over the Jets. Maybe Dallas hires him if they make a change. I feel like he could be an Andy Reid type. He won once. He can win again. He was a winner as a player. He's an alpha. He's my guy. Just we're asking names. We'll go Catherine, then we'll go James. If it's not Rizzi, who would be at the top of your list?
Would it be fair to Andy Reid? Reid was there a very long time in Philly before he got his next job. But, I think it's kind of fun to speculate at this point. I think there's going to be a lot of openings. Someone said as many as 10, which is kind of crazy. But, I was looking at the Ravens, maybe Horton from the Ravens, maybe Johnson from Washington. I know we're only supposed to do one, but I did too. I think the thing with Brian Johnson is not a great exit in Philly. I don't think fans loved him, but suddenly goes to Washington and they look great. Their offense looks great. So I'm kind of looking on the offensive side.
And let me just follow up on Chris Horton. That's a guy that I really like. We went to the same high school. He's a New Orleans native. He went to De La Salle. He's a former player. He's been incubated in a really good organization in Baltimore. I think that's a lot of positives if you're going
special teams coach too.
Yeah, it works with everybody. Like yeah, if you're going with a first-time head coach.
I'm against the first-time head coach thing. But just be honest with you. We need somebody that, and no disrespect, and shout out to Horton and the Horton family. No disrespect, but the current situation for the New Orleans Saints team, we don't need a new coach, a guy that's doing it for the first time. We need somebody that's a head coach that's been in there, that went through the lumps and bumps and bruises, that been into the playoffs, that has a bit of a resume as a head coach, right? You see what I'm saying? We need somebody with a resume to kind of lead this older team. You get what I'm saying? That's what I would prefer. So I would look fair, not so much as a first-time coach. I do like Horton, but I think as this older team, I would prefer to have more of an experienced coach, head coach.
Chris Horton would be my guy, Sharif. And then we'll go to you, James.
Well, I think the guy.
We don't know what he's doing. He just sat up here and said it was Vrabel was his guy, now it's Horton. So Cat just turned his mind just like that. That man don't know what he's talking about.
That I've been talking about for quite a few years now is Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. He's been the OC since 2022. Look at what they've done so far this season. And they're top 3 in total yards in the NFL. They're number 1 in scoring offense. He's done a pretty good job with Jared Goff and developing him since he's been there. I think he was a quarterbacks coach, their tight ends coach, receivers coach before he was the OC. So I think he's done a fabulous job. I know he turned down the job last year in Carolina. Smart move. No one wants to work with David Tepper. Why not come here with Gail Benson? I know people were thinking, why would a good coach come here? People probably said the same thing about why would you go to Detroit, Dan Campbell? It's a disaster over there. Not a disaster anymore. It's going to take a few years to build this franchise back up. So I think Ben Johnson, you got to think offense. If you want some more, I can keep going with a few more guys. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, he's done a solid job. They're top 5 offense, and I know they're going through a losing streak, and they're dealing with injuries with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I like him a lot as well. And then our third guy is Cliff Kingsbury. I've been a Cliff Kingsbury guy too, just like you, Fletcher.
Yeah, I like Cliff Kingsbury, and I agree with you.
Fletcher.
Catherine, then we'll go James.
Number 1 in scoring offense.
Fletcher like everybody.
With Jared Goff and developing him since he's been there. I think he was a quarterbacks coach, their tight ends coach, receivers coach before he was the OC. So I think he's done a fabulous job. I know he turned down the job last year in Carolina. Smart move. No one wants to work with David Tepper. Why not come here with Gail Benson? I know people were thinking, why would a good coach come here? People probably said the same thing about why would you go to Detroit, Dan Campbell? It's a disaster over there. Not a disaster anymore. It's going to take a few years to build this franchise back up. So I think Ben Johnson, you got to think offense.
I agree with that.
Some more. I can keep going with a few more guys. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, he's done a solid job. They're top 5 offense, and I know they're going through a losing streak, and they're dealing with injuries with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I like him a lot as well. And then our third guy is Cliff Kingsbury. I've been a Cliff Kingsbury guy too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like Cliff Kingsbury, and I agree with you. I think this is a much better job than people are making it out to be nationally. Sometimes, James, to you.
They're gonna do all that, not make. Who's gonna hire these people? See, they know who not to get at. That's why the Sports Coma is where it is. Because we can go where you can't go. We can go where you can't go. And that means keeping it 1,000. Who gonna hire these people? Who gonna interview them? Huh? Who gonna do it? You think Mickey Loomis gonna pick the right guy? Johnson. as the brother said, I like Johnson from the Detroit Lions. He got a lot of stuff, but he's going to be the most sought after guy there. Like he said, the guy turned the job down last year because he didn't like it. He'll have his picks and chooses, and this year he definitely going to take a job somewhere. A lot of people think it'll be Dallas. Me personally, I don't think Johnson makes it here. And I'm going to ask again, who's interviewing these people for the Saints? Who's going to make the correct hire? And the biggest question is, whoever they bring down here, you can bring down here 30 goddamn people for them to interview. Do you have any faith that they'll make the correct hire after what we've seen from this comedy show? Seriously, until things change at the top of the team, it won't change. Change has to happen at the top of the team for change to happen on the field. What we've gotten is a result of what we have at the top of the team, which is these type of mediocre results. So anyway, let's hear what James Hurst got to say.
If it's not Rizzy and you played in the league for a decade, is there a name at the top of your head that you would just throw out there? And again, we are doing this for entertainment purposes because this is all hypothetical.
Yeah, Ben Johnson was my number one. Sharif, totally agree with you. I don't have to go further down that rabbit hole, but great candidate. People couldn't pull him last year. They wanted him. He had several offers. He kind of was top of the class. So it'll be interesting to see if the Saints job is appealing enough for him. I played for Chris Horton in Baltimore. Cat, he's awesome. Love him so much. I think he would be a great head coach. I don't know if he's ready for that kind of jump.
Exactly.
A great person. I think it could be in his future. Another person I think might be a little controversial, Brian Flores.
Love it.
He turned it around in Miami. First playoff appearance I think they had in almost 20 years after 2 seasons coaching there. He had a tough exit, filed a lawsuit against the NFL and against some of the owners. So do people want that sort of baggage, that attention? I don't know. But what he does is coaches defenses extremely well. He's a risk taker. His defensive scheme is completely unique to the rest of the NFL. What he does on blitz packages, on second and long and third down is totally a gamble every single time. And it's tough to go up against. You don't know who to block, where they're going to blitz from, but it's successful. You're seeing the Vikings this year. They are outperforming everyone's expectations for them. So to see him get another shot, he's shown that he can turn something around like he did in Miami. And I feel like, we're on the cusp of maybe a rebuild. You have a veteran quarterback who I believe will be back next year because of the cap situation.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how candidates view Derek, what the plan is for Derek moving forward, and if a coach wants to come into that type of situation.
James.
All right, so let me just throw this because James Hurst is absolutely right. And we spoke about this when they interviewed him last year. And to be honest, Brian Flores got the raw end of the stick, if you pardon my French here, because he had a garbage ass owner out there in Miami who was running around here trying to sneak around and get and collude and get Tom Brady to come out there. Remember all that stuff happened? He was slick side telling Brian Flores to lose games. This man trying to win games. He running around here doing it. And then he filed a lawsuit against him and won. And they didn't blackball him because he didn't do anything wrong but stood on his square. Brian Flores will make a terrific coach for the Saints. He's young. He's intelligent. They interviewed him before. He blew their doors off before. And that was 3 years ago. So he got a lot better and a lot more experience. So even though he's been a head coach before. He's been a head coach before, so he does have head coaching experience. He's on the defensive side of the ball, but he's a young coach with a lot of intelligence, really smart, really passionate dude, and he's accountable. That's what kind of dude you want to bring. And I don't think he breaks the bank. But you can imagine a team with Brian Flores and Darren Rizzi coming back as the special teams coach, and even a Clint Kubiak to a degree getting called around if he likes Kubiak. To keep him there under them. We'll see how it goes, but I like Flores. Also like Coach Glenn. But Brian Flores to me it would definitely be something that's a bit of a new. Like Glenn's a guy who's been here before. He's a part of that old lineage, but I want something different God damn it, I want something different, something new. We had guys that were part of the lineage before, and is this guy, he was here, this type of stuff. Listen, he knows the Saints. No, we need somebody here that's new, that brings something here that's new. We need somebody here. We don't need nobody from the good old boy circling back and regurgitating these guys back up in here. Man, we need somebody new who's going to shock the system, that's going to stand on business. And if we get Brian, and this will be cool, the Saints get Brian Flores, and then they move Kai Harley into the general manager position, and they have Brian Flores. I think Brian Flores will definitely work with Derek Carr. That defense would be off the chain. Even, that'd be phenomenal. We would be a cutting edge team over here. Let's finish up.
Great stuff. We have time for one more question. We could go the whole half hour here. And Kat, this is some of your areas of expertise.
My favorite.
James just served you up the question. Is Derek Carr the quarterback of this team next year? Why or why not?
Yes.
You've done a lot of work on this.
Well, y'all know I recently did a piece for ESPN.com on the cap, and I just broke down some of the older veterans. And the Saints have a lot of older veterans with very big cap hits. I believe Derek Carr would cost $50 million to play him next year, or it would cost $50 million to play him, and not restructure him, or $50 million to cut him. So do you really just want to waste $50 million to cut a player and not have a quarterback? Now, obviously, every circumstance is different. Where you are in the draft matters. What the new coaching staff thinks about your quarterback matters. But right now, I don't think they're going to have the type of draft pick that you would want if you're going to move on from Derek Carr. So I think that you keep Derek Carr another year, but you do not restructure him. You swallow that $50 million cap hit, and then you figure it out the next year.
All right. She is Catherine.
Now, hold on. Let me add to it, because Kat's right, and we covered this countless times on the Coma. And I mentioned the fact that the reason why you got Carr is because the Saints restructured them to free up the money. The problem is with this whole dynamic with the Saints being over 80-something million dollars currently, I want to say 60 million right now in the red, 60+ million in the red, I want to say. Hold on. Let me do something right quick. Let me look up something, because I want to talk on this. Let me just make sure that number's right where it is. All right, $62.8 million. You're $62.8 million in the red currently. 60.2 mil in the red, right? Now, what I'm going to say is this. Kat's absolutely right. You can either release the guy or you can, whatever. But my thing is, that's not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you why. Mickey Loomis is not going to let that happen. He's not going to cut Derek Carr. He's not going to do it. And this is the caveat here. Kat mentioned not restructuring him. If you look at the contracts of the guys or the people they have that it will be in 2025, if you look at the base salaries of those players, the highest one, so you're going to have to restructure somebody's money. Somebody's contract has to get restructured for you to get there. There are 4 contracts next year that's in double digits, right? And we're going to start from the lowest first. $10 million for Taysom Hill base salary in 2025. $12.5 million for Cam Jordan in 2025. Right? $18 million from Ryan Ramczyk and $30 million from Derek Carr, with an $11.4 million signing that they pay off to. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, where is the money going to come from? Those are the big salaries that you have to deal with. The other contracts, you got a $9.1 million for Cesar Ruiz, and all this is according to over the cap. You got 6.2 from Tyrann Mathieu, 6.5 from Demario Davis. A lot of these guys you don't want to touch because you want to make sure the contracts run out where they're supposed to run out. But where's the money going to come from if you don't do Derek Carr's contract? $18 million is Ramczyk. You can get a significant bump from that alone. But remember, you're still 62.8 million. You have, and then let's say the league salary cap goes up by 20 million, chops that off to like 42 or whatever. You still have to work into the black from $40+ million, right? You still have to work back to the black so that you could be able to sign guys and players for the upcoming year. You have to get back into the black so you can sign your own people and your free agents. Where's that going to come from if you don't restructure? Derek Carr is the biggest restructured money. You can get the most out of his contract. He got $30+ million annually, according to Over the Cap. Right? So we know you're going to see restructurings from these guys. I mean, Carr's contract is the one. So this is all done by Mickey Loomis. This is Mickey Loomis' fault. That's the problem. That's why he's like, no, we can't do it, because if you cut Carr, you're cutting your own throat, because you ain't gonna be able to sign another quarterback. And wherever you end up in the draft, they got really 2 quarterbacks that's worth the first round grade, a high first round grade, and that's Shedeur Sanders, and that's also Cam Ward. Both of those guys are going to be gone depending on where the Saints draft at. Those guys are predicted to go in the top 5. The Saints are not going to be a top 5 team. I don't think they are. And if you have a rookie quarterback there that you're not with a veteran aging team, you're not going nowhere with that. That's the same shit that happened with Carolina when they had a veteran team and all these pieces, and they threw a rookie in the middle of them, say, go take us to the playoffs. And not even Peyton Manning did that shit. He won like 1 or 2 games. I think 1 game in his rookie campaign. So, I mean, it's just one of the situations where you got to make a tough decision. And this is all because of Mickey flipping Loomis. That's what it's all. So never forget that. Him and his chump president.
Terrell with ESPN. James Hurst is our analyst here at WDSU. Sharif and I are here every day again.
All right. So shout out to you guys, man. Appreciate y'all for being in the live on this one, man. And like I said, man, and I'm going to continue to say, New Orleans Saints, man, listen, the point of the measure is went over everything. And the bottom line is the Saints have a very interesting season going ahead. You know, here, we'll pull up the schedule right here. And you'll see right here to the right of Cam's picture right here, you can see all them stinking losses. And then you have the 2 wins against the Falcons and the Browns. And then you got the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games remaining, which is Rams, which is up next this Sunday at 3:05 p.m. The Giants the following week. So the Saints, one win at approach, they can end up getting 4 games in a row before they come home for a game against Jaden Daniels in the Washington club. Then they got to travel 2 days before Xmas to go up to Green Bay in the cold and take on the Packers. Then they got a winnable game against the Raiders and the tough season finale against the Bucs. So the future right now with 6 games remaining in the season is in the hands of the Saints. There's only 2 words I could say, and that's the name of the broadcast, is finish strong. That's what it's about. And we heard Coach Rizzi says that in his raspy nature. That's what the Saints have to do. They have to finish strong. All right, listen, that's going to do it for the stream. Listen, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all for tuning in the broadcast. Much love to the fam. As always, please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Shout out to my super chatters and cash appers. Tonight, I'm kind of in a rush right now. I'm sorry I didn't read none of your messages, but listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Please just do me a service here. Check out our sponsors of the broadcast. Mint Mobile for your cell phone service is so expensive nowadays. Save some money if you can. Like I said, I got my cell phone plan, man, and I got my boys on it. Very inexpensive plan for them, saving money on my budget. Helps me out a long way. More money goes into your budget. You can buy some nice stuff. I just bought a nice big old TV. But hey, man, listen, save money where you can. But if you look at your stuff, start balancing. The big time part of our budget is cell phone costs. I'm trying to save some money. That's why Mint Mobile made a lot of sense for them to be the sponsor of the platform. Y'all check it out. Link in the description section below. Just go and look at it and see if they can help you out. Teach Henley for the fellas out there trying to look good for their significant other. Check out Teach Henley, man. Don't go around here with your face looking like a reptilian. Get your skin right, man. looking like a leather belt and shit. Don't go out there looking like that, man. That don't make you ain't gonna get chose like that. You ain't gonna get chose like that, man. check out T Chandler. We got a discount on products, man. 20 to 40% off. The link is in the description section and Bet Online. If you can't make money with the Saints, make money on the Saints because they do it to you. That's my little song dance I used to say. With that, all those links in the description section below. So, man, listen, with all the love in the world, man, I respect all y'all, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will be back on Tuesday for our Patreon. If y'all want to join the Patreon, the links, you can join the YouTube channel here, or you can simply go to patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That way you'll have access to On Q with Big Q. I'm doing a new show on Wednesday, dropping a lot of deep game on that. If y'all want to check that out, all the latest reports and stuff that we filed, a lot of interesting stuffs there that I done found over the years. A lot of stuff that I can't talk about here, deal with a lot of stuff that we're going through, but you don't want to miss this episode of On Q with Big Q. I'm dropping some good stuff on there. And check that out. That's only on Patreon as well, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. With that being said, I'm going to get out on that. I appreciate each and every last one of y'all. I'll see y'all on Tuesday, and the rest of the family members, I'll holler at y'all on Wednesday. Much love, and who that to you. Peace.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoDatDaily.com is your site. The WhoDatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who Dat.